everybody. I'm here with Ray Bridgeman, co-founding partner of Network Magazine and partner at Bridgeman Strategic Concepts. I'm Chris Morganelli, CEO at MCIT, and I'm excited to shed some light on Network Magazine with Ray here this afternoon. Ray.
Yes, sir.
You ready?
I'm ready. Let's go.
So give us some background on you. Where are you from? What are you doing now? And love to get to know you better.
I'm originally from North Carolina, close to Chapel Hill. Go Tar Heels. Sorry, Duke fans. Military brat. Spent a lot of time in Savannah, Georgia. Relocated up here in about 1995. So I've been in the Valley ever since.
Nice.
Originally in hospitality and food and beverage. Banking, investments, insurance in a past life. Day job is at the Bar Association of Lehigh County, executive director, kind of bringing some of that hospitality back together. Met my lovely wife, now married, and she decided to brand her own company and, use my name, Bridgeman Strategic Concepts. So it all comes back full circle. So this is where we're at.
Very nice. And I think we've been friends for a while. Born and bred right here in the Lehigh Valley. I love it. Live in Bethlehem right now. And I have a computer science degree. Went into sales, started MCIT, and off to the races, right? So let's dive in. What was the inspiration for Network Magazine? What was the mission? Why are we here today?
It all started over too many cocktails one afternoon with a couple of buddies, and actually sketched the idea out on a cocktail napkin. And I think the first goal was we tried to figure out a way to brand our own concepts, our own businesses. How we were going to do that, I still don't think we were fully sure of how that was going to work in the first couple of days of that. But that was the mission, was to actually brand ourselves. Yeah. And it really morphed into this monster that is now Network Magazine, almost 8 years later.
Yeah. I think, it came down to us having our own entities and organizations that we were part of and wanted to connect with a little bit higher level audience, right? There's obviously some great organizations out there, but we were looking for the leaders within the Lehigh Valley. And so this kind of was born, right?
Yeah, and we were trying to figure out a way, I think, to tie it all together for all of us that made it work. Little did we know that, hey, you can network by publication and networking event.
Yeah. So let's dive into some of the details. There's so much out there, right? Networking groups, publications out there. What sets Network Magazine apart from all the other, we won't call them competitors, but other, colleagues out there within the industry?
Yeah, we like to say we are the Lehigh Valley's high-end B2B publication.
Mm-hmm.
We've got a great product.
Yeah, it's absolutely beautiful. Yeah, for sure.
Going back to the beginning, I'm not sure we would have put that product together, but you're talking to a couple guys that didn't really know much about the publication business and, didn't have the expense part figured out yet, but we dove in and probably have to say we have the best publication piece out there right now in the Valley, to the point where you go to businesses now and not only are you going to see the current one laying on a table somewhere in their office, you might see one from a few years ago, because the survival time on this publication, it's classic. Not only is it good content, but it looks great.
Yeah, the shelf life doesn't really expire.
It's unbelievable.
Right? Yeah. And, we decided early on to make this a quarterly based publication, right? The thought was
probably because we didn't have time to make it monthly.
That was probably one of the, absolutely. But also, the topics and, like you said, the content, right? It didn't expire right away. So we felt it could last a little bit longer.
Yeah. The content, we built the magazine around the content. We have some of the best leaders in business right here in the Lehigh Valley. And it was kind of our focus not to have to just go regurgitate some talking points from talking heads from DC, from New York, out west, whatever, and to use the Valley talent. Yeah. And doing that, I think, has made us stand out.
Yeah. So skip ahead a little bit, with those decisions of who's involved with the magazine, from the advertisers to the content contributors. I know from being on the ad side, people are approaching us, right? But on the content side, because it's such an important piece of it, what's that look like? Are you approaching content writers yet? Or are they approaching us now? Because that's a huge piece of the success of this magazine.
Yeah, in the beginning, it was really me and you out there begging people to write. Again, we're showing up,
With no magazine, but it's going to be a great magazine.
We got a concept. We got an idea.
Yeah.
People were looking at us like we were crazy in the beginning, and granted, people are like, oh, I think print's dying and this and that. And again, we had to sell the concept to them. And, we some of those people we went after, they got involved in the first edition and they're still with us.
Yeah, long time.
Long time. And I think that was one of the key pieces for us, because we went after people we knew we had a great relationship with, and knew if we were getting involved in something, it wasn't going to die.
Yeah.
And I think that was key.
Yeah, and it kind of leads me into my next question is, that positive public perception, right, that we've strived to keep for the almost 8 years now. It goes back to kind of the original content contributors and advertisers that have stuck with us the whole time, right? That gives some positive, stature for us, right?
Yeah, I mean, we have some great repeat writers. We always have new writers. The nice thing is that in the beginning, again, we were begging people to write. And now we're out there looking for writers, but they're now reaching out to us.
Yeah.
And that's when something's working. Where it's not that we don't have to work hard, we do, but
right.
They're coming to us.
Yeah.
And that's a compliment to we've done our job.
Yeah. And we've had some really interesting content over the years, from everything from medical marijuana to the shaky and uncertain political landscape. I mean, we really had it all.
Yeah, we've had some great writers, some great topics, and some of the people involved in the magazine, advertisers and writers, we've had the Jandals involved. Don Cunningham's a regular writer, CEOs of companies. Yeah, it's really something that has gotten legs and taken off.
So, the names you mentioned, among many really impressive names in the magazine over the years, I think says a lot about what we've done right over the years, that to get those types of credible people, right? That's the most important thing, is to make sure you have credible people that are looked up within the business community and taken seriously, right?
Yeah, and again, it's the local talent that we keyed on too. But you've got to have the experts in the fields producing that content. Because if you don't, you're just a magazine full of ads.
Yeah.
And the advertisement revenue was important to us, but we built the magazine on the content itself.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And it's educational, and it means stuff. When you get a writer who tells you, oh, I picked up this client due to an article in the magazine, or I picked up this client because I was at a networking event, that's when you know it's working. Yeah,
those success stories, right, that we like to call them, are really key to showing that it's working. Connecting leaders, creating business and stuff.
Absolutely.
And so, talking about the advertisers, let's talk about the events too. It's kind of a mix. How are these events compiled, right? We wanted to be unique in terms of how we get that list together. Tell us a little bit about that.
So with the events itself, part of the kind of structure to it was, we knew in the beginning we had to reach the whole valley, and we couldn't kind of pinpoint one location to do that. So we're all over the valley. Our events rotate every event, every quarter. We've been some great places in Easton and Bethlehem and Allentown and the outskirts.
Yep.
So allowing us to go around the valley allows us to bring in new blood every time.
Yeah, from those areas.
Yep.
And some of the venues have been new venues that have popped up, right? And others have been long-standing venues within the community. So we're really getting, that fair and equal distribution of giving everyone a chance to get involved and network and get involved.
And that's another nice thing. Not only are the content writers now coming after us, now the venues are coming after us, the whole event. So.
And the event itself, which I think is really unique, is that, we're not, we are inviting our friends and colleagues, right, that we're trying to wine and dine and impress because it's such a great event. But the advertisers and content contributors are the ones kind of steering that list, right?
Correct. So you get a certain number of invites if you're a content writer or an advertiser. So you're actually building your network because you're involved with us. You have control of your own invitation list and doing that.
Yeah. So you need to essentially, you need to be involved with Network Magazine in some capacity, whether it's a content contributor, advertiser, or connected to an advertiser or content contributor to be invited, right? Because it's an invite-only list.
It's an invitation-only list. First of all, content writers and advertisers get first crack at inviting people. our personal list who we're inviting. And I like to tell the content writers and the advertisers, this is a great way for you to shine. Because when you bring clients, you bring potential clients to an event like this.
Oh yeah.
And they're meeting the leaders of Lehigh Valley, it only makes you stand out.
I think you know firsthand, I've used Network Magazine to help MCIT grow over the years. I've wined and dined prospective clients. I've met new clients there. So the success stories do really happen, but you have to make it work, right? You can't just show up. You have to engage, you have to follow up and things of that nature.
You got to work the room.
Absolutely.
When you're there, you know, we always have great entertainment. We always have great food. We always
we do.
Well, it's me and Chris, so we always have great cocktails. But you got to work the room while you're there. I mean, and the nice thing is because we put it out there as a networking event, people expect you to be there and talking and mix and mingling.
Right. They want to engage with you.
They want
to
engage.
Yeah, which is important.
And that was one of our key things of why we kind of built the brand was to build our own referral networks.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, it kind of goes back to the original mission and purpose, right? To truly network. Yeah. And I think we've captured that really well. You know, as we slowly wrap this interview and conversation up, you know, as a business owner, you know, owner of Network Magazine, your own business here with Bridgeman Strategic Concepts, you know, what lessons have you learned over the years? If you could give some advice to potential entrepreneurs out there that have just started or are looking to start their own business.
Well, biggest thing is you got to plan, and I know everybody says that. You got to plan it. You got to stick to the plan, but you got to be willing to deviate from the plan as well, because you're gonna do things that don't work.
Absolutely,
we did a lot of things that didn't work.
That's for sure. Yeah,
and you know, you just got to be able to move on, learn from that. But you also got to schedule that time, and I think more important, besides scheduling the time to work, because you know it's a grind when you're starting that new brand, that new business.
Oh yeah,
you know, there's no off time.
Absolutely not.
You know, you're working to midnight sometimes, and you're working at 5 a.m. or whatever it is. You also got to schedule the time to decompress.
Yeah, shut it down for a bit.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So that's if not, you're never going to make it through the grind.
Yeah.
So
I agree 100%. How about last remarks regarding Network Magazine? You know, whether you're going back to the beginning, looking towards the future, why should our viewership and the people out in the Lehigh Valley get involved with Network Magazine?
Well, we are the high-end B2B publication, but we're also the high-end networking group. And we know that now because if you come to an event because you advertised or you got invited by an advertiser and then you didn't get an invitation to the next one, it's working because, again, we built this to build that referral network for those advertisers and those content writers to bring their networks. You know, we're growing. We're about to start our 8th year.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Which I'm not sure either one of us thought it would make 8 years in the beginning.
It is amazing. Yeah.
But it was worth the grind. Again, we're growing every edition, and that's why you should be involved with us, because we're here. We're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And again, if you're not coming to the events, you're not building those networks.
Yeah, I agree. I think, you know, for those out there that are thinking about whether you're starting your own business, a part of another organization, to get involved with Network Magazine, if you're really truly looking to connect in an authentic manner, right, with business leaders within the Valley, I think, you know, what Ray and the partners of Network Magazine have been doing and continue to do, it's really exciting. I think the Lehigh Valley is kind of lucky to have this type of high-end positioned publication and networking event. And I'm certainly excited for the future. I don't know if another 8 years, 16 years sounds like a long time, but hey, you never know, right?
Well, you know, hey, if everything else fails, we throw a good party. So.
That is true. Well, listen, everyone, we're going to wrap this up. I appreciate the time. Again, I'm Chris Morganelli from MCIT. Ray Bridgeman, appreciate the time. Friend, colleague, and we're excited about the future of Network here. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks a lot.